Welcome back to Conveaux Co, my talk show and video podcast. I am Bella the God, and here's how this works. I introduce the topic, we watch the clip together, I give you my honest take, and then I want yours in the comments. You'll see a question on the screen for every segment, so do not just watch. Please participate. This is a conversation, it's not a lecture. Today's topics are fly out expectations. I didn't like your content. Pegging. And last and least, micro penises. Okay? First topic of the day, fly out expectations. Roll the clip.
I keep seeing all these videos about like if a dude fly a woman out, she ain't got no choice but to, get crushed. And a lot of women in the comments keep saying, I'm hot and ready, add a balcony to it, all this extra shit, implying that she's ready to get crushed. So I want my ladies to answer this question. If you getting flown out, is it a situation where y'all have a conversation about, getting crushed? Or is it a situation where what's understood don't need to be said? Like, how y'all playing that? If you getting flown out, do y'all need to have the conversation about getting crushed or not? Me, I'm a little different. I think that we should definitely have a conversation about it, implying about getting crushed. But y'all tell me.
I'm just going to open up and say I've been flown out before. Not only have I been flown out before, I've gotten flown out on a first date to go to Cancun, and I had a ball. Now, this was an attractive gentleman. I'm not ugly myself. So we knew we were attracted to each other. We didn't necessarily have the conversation. And he wound up not even really wanting to have sex. He wanted the company. I got lucky. A lot of people do fly out. They, have the anticipation and the desire of someone that they're meeting, and they do want to have sex. And yeah, it's a conversation that needs to be had because it's deeper than just, would you like to have sex with me? We start having to talk about, when's the last time have you been tested? Do you have any diseases? Right before I even fly out there and come home with something that's uncurable. So the conversations absolutely need to be had. But moreover than the conversation, I want the men specifically to understand that if a woman flies out and then decides that she doesn't want to have sex with you for whatever reason, I don't want you to be a cornball and cancel her flight. I don't want you to be a cornball and be mean to her or leave her stranded, right? So it's not a guarantee that you're gonna have sex. What I will say is that a lot of y'all are fucking weirdos. A lot of men are weird. They don't have the same presence, ego, what are the words I'm looking for? Confidence, good hygiene when you meet them as what they present themselves to be online. Ask me how I know. I'm 42. I done been around the block a few times, okay? You cannot revoke someone's safety because you feel less desired. You cannot revoke the safety of someone because you have blue balls. And that's often what I see. There's a lot of catfishing that goes on. That's something that has to happen. You guys need to FaceTime, video time. I don't know. Do the background checks because I do. And what I want y'all to realize is you may present one way online, and when I get around you, you're fucking awkward. You're antisocial. You're anxious. And it's just like, oh, you're not the same person. So my body starts to turn off from you. It doesn't mean that you couldn't be a good friend. It means I ain't trying to fuck you right now, right? So I just want people to understand that men, or I should say the person that's flying the other person out, right? The flyer, not the flyee, that other person deserves to get home the same way they got there, which is safe. You have the right, though, to end the fly out early. But don't have someone stranded. Don't be like, oh no, she ain't give me X, Y, and Z. I'm canceling her flight. That's some corny shit. Because she flew out there, or he flew out there, or they flew out there under the pretense that they were gonna get home the same way that they got there. And that's really just what I have to say about that. Make sure y'all are getting tested. Make sure the conversations are being had. Understand that desirability can lessen and that consent can be revoked. And now that we've talked about that, noted, filed, next.
I need clarification on what's qualified as stalking, because sometimes I did look at your story. I did watch your video. I did, but I didn't like it because I didn't like it.
So, y'all know this is one of my favorite topics, right? And I often see online, especially on threads, and I don't like it over there when they talk about sub for sub, follow for follow, right? There's one thing about being a content creator, influencer, right? When it comes to your analytics, you have to have a certain amount of engagement to prove to these companies that you are worthy of this collaboration, this sponsorship, this amount of money that you're asking for. Because I'm not going to follow gaming pages and watch the content when that's not something that I'm interested in. I tell people all the time, I'm not going to sub for sub. I'm not going to follow for follow. Now, the question or statement was, first of all, I'm not a monitoring spirit. I didn't like your content because I didn't like your content. And that's a bar, right? There are some people that just put up hair damn content. And I ain't gonna lie, I've done it before, trying to make sure that I'm hitting, what the algorithm, what these apps want you to push. And sometimes it's like, I am burnt out, or I don't feel like it, or I didn't batch enough, but I still have to put something out. All content isn't good content, and sometimes I just don't like your content. There's some people, as you can see, let's talk about myself first. We're always going to talk about in-house. As you can see, when I first started out, if you go back to my very first episode of Conveaux Co, this wasn't here. It was a board, and people were texting me like, oh, you need this, oh, you need that. Bitch, I ain't got no money. Come do my studio if you think I need all of the things that you're talking about. But I had to start somewhere, because if I didn't start somewhere, I wasn't going to start at all. As you can see, there's been improvement. There's been add-ins, all of the things, and we're getting better with lighting and the mic and the editing. We're getting there. I'm a one-woman show. So there's a difference in not liking my content because I don't make good content, and not liking my content because everything is a mess and haywire and fucked up, right? Sometimes I don't like your content. It doesn't mean I don't like you, but it doesn't mean just because you're on my For You page or the algorithm pushes whatever you're doing out to me that I have to like it. And you want to know how I know that too? By my analytics and what y'all like and don't like, and what you share and don't share. What gets the views? What gets the people going? I'm not going to like everything. I'm not going to sub to everybody. Like, I know across the board, there are some people that have the same handle on all platforms. I stopped following people on Threads because I follow you on Instagram. I follow you on Facebook. I follow you on Twitter. I follow you on TikTok. I follow you on God damn, I'm tired, right? And sometimes you can cross post content, but for me, I try to give different apps, different content. Now, since I'm solely focused on YouTube, shout out to YouTube, I do cross post for all of those people that don't see, because sometimes your Facebook users are not your Instagram and TikTok users, right? So somebody's got to see this quality content that I'm putting out. But no, sometimes I didn't like your content because I didn't like your content, and it really just is what it is. It doesn't mean that I'm a monitoring spirit. And now that that's noted, filed, on to the next. This one gonna get the people going. Roll the clip.
Getting pegged does not make you gay, or mean that you like men, or make you DL. Open for discussion.
Y'all know I got my notes. Y'all know I got my notes. Does pegging make you gay if it's done with a woman? No. Does pegging make you down low if it's done with a woman? No. Does pegging mean you like men if you're doing it with a woman? No. Here's why. Because it was with a woman. So just because you like the way that something feels doesn't necessarily mean that you are into the same sex. Just because, you like a little cunningness or fellatio doesn't mean you want someone from the same sex doing it. And I know y'all are like, oh, but pegging is a little bit different. It's a whole beep and the beep. Right, I got to beep myself out because CapCut doesn't beep it out, right? I gotta get another editing tool. But it doesn't mean that you are gay, down low, or like men just because you like to be pegged. When you are doing a sexual act with a woman, that is a heterosexual straight act. If you're a straight man, this should not be anything that makes you feel like you're gay. If you like to be pegged, then you like to be pegged. And there's no need for me to elaborate on this. Like, that's really just what it is. If you are a straight male and you're not down low and you're not straight and you're not bisexual and you do any sexual act with a heterosexual woman, cis woman, because we got to make sure, because we got to make sure that I say that. Ovaries, womb, uterus, woman. It is not gay. And that's all I have to say about that. Moving on to our last and definitely least, once you watch the video, let's just get into it, man. Let's roll the clip.
No, I have a question. Because why do men with micro penises never tell you that ahead of time? Like, I feel like that's something like, why would you want to surprise me with that? No, wait, why would you want to surprise me with that? Like, I like them big. Why would you pull that lipstick out your pants? Now I got your number saved as lipstick emoji. Like, because this has happened to me not once but twice. And this has not happened recently. This was at least 10 years ago. But I just thought of this. Because why would you not sit somebody down and tell them that ahead of time? You bitch, now you fucking knew. That's the type of thing where it's like you sit them down, like you supposed to be waiting to do it, and then you sit them down like, hey, I need to tell you something. Because realistically, saying I have a micro penis is significantly better than anything else that they're just about to say. So they might have a better reaction. Like, why would you spring that up on somebody? That's not cool, bro. Like, come on. You need to give somebody the choice ahead of time, because that's not, I can't start liking you. You might have to trick them into staying. I don't know. And you know what just really threw me for a loop? The dude who did that to me had enough to pull out a Magnum. Hello?
It really bothers me that men can walk around and we not see any part of their body that we are attracted to besides their face. That's all we know. Their face, their arms, their stature. However, they can look at us. They can look at our breasts. They can look at our hips. They can look at our ass. They can look at our legs. They can look at all of the things while fully clothed. And they can get an idea of what it might be like. We get no ideas. And even with the tight pants that they wear, we don't get any ideas. Now, this creator was talking about how, and I like it big. I like big dick. Da 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 da. Babe, I remember. I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. I remember being in college. And everybody always says, get you an African man, get you a Nigerian man. Let me put this down. Like, it's so big. Oh my God, you gonna have the time of your life. I remember this guy and his penis was so small. I was like, It's like having sex with a woman. Like, I didn't know at first, right? Because when you're in college, a lot of the times you're having sex with the lights off, and you know, you're already on the bed and they take their stuff off and they get in the bed with you and you're trying to figure something out. But oftentimes, now that I'm older and now that I know, when they just start giving you head off, like, and not that they shouldn't, okay, but before you can get a glimpse of, because there's men that's gonna give you head immediately, but they gonna stand there and they gonna let you look at it like, yeah, right? Did you hear my legs? They gonna stand there because they know, they want you to see, they want you to worship their body and be like, oh my God. But them little itty bitty shrimp joints, they are going to slide under the covers, slide down the covers, get your rocks off 7, 8, 9 times, and then try to scissor. Because that's basically what it is. That's basically what it is. It's like, sister, you're literally my sister. What are we doing? What are we doing, sister? Like, I'm not a lesbian. I don't want to bump coochies, because that's what we're doing. There are a lot of men that have enlarged clitorises. And that's what a micro penis is, an enlarged clitoris. Just imagine, because there are some women with enlarged clitorises, and you be like, oh my gosh, like, is that a micro penis? And yes, why, yes, it is. And that's, gentlemen, what we see when we talk about micro penises. So in my opinion, they be like, oh, the average is what, 4 to 6 inches, da 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 da. Babe, it matters. It matters. I have a friend and she's like, well, I don't like jumbo dick. I like, what did she say? Small penises. I like small penis. And I just be like, girl, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Now for me, this is going a totally different way. We just gonna take it there since we having a conversation. Micro penises, in my opinion, are for anal. Haven't done anal in like, I'm 42. Haven't done anal in like 22 plus years. Did it once. I was like, whoa, this is not for me, right? So it's not for me. So shout out to all the men, if you made it this far, who are into pegging, because I'm not into that, right? So, and that's why it's been so long. But why would I want something large there, right? It's just a totally different thing, right? But I do wish there was a disclaimer, maybe like a scarlet letter, maybe like a birthmark, or maybe, you know, like how the Sims have their little thing over their head and the rating was there. I wish there was a way for us to figure out what men are providing before we have to get there. So no, I don't see anything wrong with exchanging nudes or pictures. Like, if y'all remember back in the day, back on Twitter, there used to be this thing. I was deviant. And it came because of a situation like this. And there was a man and he sent me, I used to do this thing where it's like, I don't trust what you're sending, so put it next to a Comcast remote. It used to be hashtag put your bleep next to a Comcast remote. And this guy sent me a picture next to his Xbox remote. And it wasn't even the long way. It was, you know how you hold a remote like this? It was this way. Stop fucking playing with people. Stop playing with people. Because we all know back in the day, the Comcast remote, not the TV remotes now, like the TV remotes are little now, but back in the day, Comcast used to have a long remote where you could actually judge the size of a penis next to the remote. Like, that was me, y'all. There was a lot of trends that I started on Twitter, and I always talk about it. There's a few days every once in a while where I'm like, damn, I wish I had my OG Twitter. Moving the direction that I am in media, I'm glad that shit is gone. Period. There was a lot of things, a lot of trends that, man, I'm glad it's gone. But I did start that. So when you have someone that wants to send you news or it's new, find something, you know, in your house and be like, that's common, right? What's common in our homes? Stanleys. Put it next to the Stanley. Oh, or steak knives, you know? Not butter knives. Or you could get the butter knife because it's safe. Like, And then you can't always trust the measuring tape because they'll put the 0 and they'll push it into like that soft area, and then they'll try to make it seem longer than what it is. You cannot trick me. You cannot trick me. And that's a wrap on today's Conveaux Co. I gave you my take, and now I want yours. Drop your thoughts in the comments on any of today's topics, because this conversation doesn't stop when the video ends. If you're new here, subscribe and come back every week, because we always have something worth talking about. I'm Bella the God, and I'll see you next time. Take me.